Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to dive straight into the profound, ancient wisdom of one of history's absolute greatest minds, Chanakya. We're going to take his monumental historical success and translate it into a modern, actionable blueprint for your own personal mastery.
We've got a really packed agenda for this masterclass. We'll be looking at the legacy of Chanakya, how to master your inner emotions, defining your ultimate goal, the very real peril of idleness, how to conceal your vulnerabilities, and finally, why you can never stop learning.
So let's kick things off with Section 1, The Legacy of Chanakya, the Ultimate Kingmaker.
To really get this blueprint, we first need to establish exactly who Chanakya was. He wasn't just some philosopher writing theories in a vacuum, He was a brilliant, highly pragmatic strategist who actually played a pivotal role in stopping Alexander the Great's advance at India's borders. He built one of the world's largest empires right from a humble hut. But his defining moment was deeply personal. When a cruel king completely humiliated and banished him from his court, Chanakya didn't just sit around and cry about it, and he didn't swing a sword blindly in a fit of rage either. Instead, he relied entirely on his intellect and calculated a legendary path to absolute victory.
In that experience bred a core philosophy that was, quite honestly, uncompromisingly ruthless. Destroy the problem from its roots before it destroys you. His belief was that no problem is bigger than human capacity, as long as you eliminate it entirely before it can strike back. Don't just trim the leaves of your issues, pull them out by their roots.
Which brings us to Section 2. Master your inner emotions, the furnace of discipline.
Our next step in this blueprint requires total, absolute control over your internal reactions. Think about it. When you face disrespect or a massive setback, how do most people react? They scream, they give in to sudden anger, and they just entirely lose control of the situation. But Chanakya chose a completely different path. He chose to channel that energy. Instead of fighting back immediately when the king humiliated him, he famously left his hair untied. It was a visual, unbreakable vow to destroy that dynasty through sheer success. Your revenge shouldn't be a screaming match. It should be your overwhelming success. You take that intense negative energy and you forge it into a literal furnace of discipline.
Moving right along to Section 3, define your ultimate goal, the anchor in the ocean. So why does hard work sometimes just feel totally aimless and exhausting? It's a great question, isn't it? We have all felt that bone-deep fatigue where we're grinding away every single day, but seemingly getting nowhere. Well, even Chandragupta Maurya, Chanakya's protege and the future emperor, once sat depressed by a river. He actually asked his teacher why motivation fades even when you're working relentlessly. And this prompted Chanakya to reveal a critical vulnerability that affects almost all of us. He explained that focusing on others traps your mind in a labyrinth of exhausting thoughts. You start wondering, why are they ahead of me? How did they achieve that so fast? Chanakya warned that comparing yourself to others simply drains your precious mental energy. But on the flip side, focusing entirely on yourself brings incredible clarity. Having a laser focus on your own actions basically turns your mind into an unstoppable weapon. Because without a clear goal, life is honestly like a boat wandering aimlessly in the ocean. You might be rowing incredibly hard and burning a ton of energy, but you aren't actually going anywhere. You simply cannot run in 100 directions at once. You have to choose one clear beacon to guide your daily actions and stick to it.
All right, let's dive into Section 4, The Peril of Idleness, or as I like to call it, the Tragedy of Ramlal.
Consider the tragedy of Ramlal, the lazy gardener. In the spring, he plants his seeds and just expects nature to do all the heavy lifting. As the days pass, he sits on his sofa drinking tea, gossiping, while his neighbors are out there working hard. Months go by, the weeds grow thick, and he just makes excuses about being too tired. And then, harvest time hits. His crops are completely dead, and his debt is massive. While he was waiting on luck, his complete lack of discipline absolutely ruined his future.
Chanakya explicitly warned Chandragupta to never sit empty. An idle mind naturally spirals into negative thoughts, fear, and deep anxiety. To counter this, you have to actively engage with the world. Take a walk in nature to spark some creativity. Use your free time to learn new skills, whether that's coding, public speaking, whatever interests you. Turn those idle moments into active planning for your future. Filling your free time with productive learning breeds genuine confidence, not anxiety.
Look, there are absolutely no shortcuts to greatness. First, you've got to wake up early to properly prepare your mind for the day.
Second, you must push through the poison of daily discipline. Fun history fact, Chanakya literally fed Chandragupta small amounts of poison every day to build his immunity against assassination. Now for you, the daily poison is discipline, metaphorically speaking. Of course, please do not actually eat poison. It's tough to swallow at first, but it makes you invincible over time. And third, rebuild after failure. When their first rebellion failed, they didn't quit, they just learned from it, gathered local tribes, and fought again, but smarter.
Which brings us to Section 5, Conceal Your Vulnerabilities, the Hissing Snake.
As you start building your success, you have to protect it. There's this brilliant piece of ancient advice I love. Even if a snake isn't venomous, it should pretend to be. This perfectly illustrates that you must establish strong boundaries and project strength to the outside world, even on those days when you feel totally vulnerable on the inside.
In a forest, the straight trees are always the first to be cut down. So don't broadcast your weaknesses. If you are too naive, or if you openly share all your flaws and insecurities with everyone you meet, the world will absolutely use you for its own gain. It is so essential to keep your vulnerabilities hidden behind a confident, formidable exterior.
And finally, Section 6, Never Stop Learning, the Engine of Progress. To sustain all this incredible success you built, your self-mastery has to evolve into a lifelong habit. Chanakya firmly believed that the day you stop learning is the very day you stop growing. You have 3 massive sources of knowledge available to you right now. First, books. They grant you immediate access to the greatest minds in human history. Second, people. You should treat every single human you meet as a walking university. Observe them, learn from their unique skills. And third, mistakes. You have to analyze your own missteps objectively, because at the end of the day, failure is ultimately your greatest teacher.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really pivotal question. Are you steering your boat toward a clear destination, or are you just drifting on the sofa like Ramlal? Are you actively destroying your problems from the root with daily discipline, or are you letting idleness slowly destroy your potential? The choice isn't just some philosophical debate. It's what you decide to do the exact moment this explainer ends.